Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I'm on my way home. I had a pretty solid outing. Forced myself to do everything I normally do, climbing hills, buying stuff that needs to be for my meals and stuff. I didn't really have everything that I needed today. I don't know if my favorite Angus kosher beef is available everywhere or just not available where I went. I don't know if I'm wording that right, but they ain't have it, is what I'm trying to say. They did not have it, so couldn't buy it, but I do have some left, so I'll try again in a few days. And then the grapes. The only grapes I could find were like tiny baby green grapes and cotton candy grapes. That was it. They didn't have anything else. I don't know if grapes are out of season or not. I'm not really sure. So yeah, it's just weird right now. Weird times as it pertains to me going to the grocery store and not seeing half of what I'm looking for. But yeah, man, aside from that, my body's a little weak because I haven't been doing my Hunters Blue for the last couple of days and haven't been out in a couple of days. So I felt like my body was really kind of pushed the way that it needs to be, the way that I'm used to it being today, and that's a good thing. So yeah, man, a little more tired than I normally would be, but just the same, I know what's going to get me where I need to go. And so at this age, it don't take long to get yourself out of shape or get yourself out of conditioning. You have to stay with it more so than it would require as a young person. So that's really what it is. Father Time doing his thing. But yeah, man, I feel pretty decent. Just gotta continue to do what I've been doing and mentally, spiritually, and emotionally stay centered with all the confusion out there and all the chaos, racial chaos and hate out there, and hate disguised as love. I know you are, but what am I? Stuff that's going on everywhere. People thinking they're right when they're really wrong, and vice versa. Everybody thinking they're right, whatever it looks like. You just got to stay prayed up. It requires a lot of centered meditation and self-accountability and continued interest in focusing on oneself to try to get back to where you need to be in the presence of being exposed to all of the different propaganda, counter propaganda, conspiracy theories, and awakening to the different things that are out there. It just makes you so that you must spend time away from it to center yourself. And I think that's where I'm at. I've been exposed to a little too much nonsense, too much counter nonsense. It just gets to a point where it's like, yo, I need a second away from all of you, like everybody, the people who got it right and the people who don't. I just need a second. Give me a second to process all of this. So that's really where I'm at, man. Sometimes it's good to decompress, even from conversations that are most important, so that you can have your energy be where it needs to be, and so that you can be focused and not influenced by the chaos itself. In this era of life, it's easy to get lost in all of this. And most of it is meant to make us confused or make us feel like there's no hope or make us feel afraid or whatever. Pull us away from God and into spaces where we're angry and egotistical and, defensive and all different types of other energies that don't really serve God or serve us best. Fear-mongering is rampant. It's a controlling mechanism in brainwashing people, and I just don't want to be caught up in any of that. But still find myself in the midst of seeking the truth, being subjected to too much of it. So yeah, man, I don't blame anybody. For wanting to hit the fast forward button on the era that we're in, the one I'm currently talking to you in, because it is exhausting. Just being aware or trying to seek out awareness is exhausting, extremely exhausting. And it's just a lot of, like I said, chaos in place, ignorance, people being loud and wrong and different stuff like that. It just gets to a point where it's like, all right, I got too much of this going on in my head, and all I want to do is just tell everybody, hey man, I feel you. If you are in a space where you're being overloaded with nonsense, overloaded with information, overloaded with quote unquote truth, and not enough spirituality involved in all of it, worldly reactions to frustration and propaganda, it just gets to a point where it's like I need to reset. I need to pull myself away from all of that and pray. And so that's the moment I'm in right now. I just was looking at all this stuff on Instagram and distractions away from Gaza and more so centered around the politics of this current country we're in, and everybody fighting amongst one another and convincing one another that fighting is the solution and all different types of stuff. And the presence of over bombardment with, people who are hateful or whatever the heck it is. It never ends. You scroll and you see more of it, scroll and you see more of it. Make you think that the only thing you're gonna find in this life is that. And that's the problem with the algorithm era we're in. Where you click on one thing, you see a million of it. I remember it might have been 2 weeks ago, when some stuff happened in football, and I clicked on some Dallas Cowboys stuff, and all of a sudden my entire YouTube news feed is just Dallas Cowboys for like a day. It's like, yo, I don't want to be over bombarded with the same content just because I showed some interest. I may have clicked on 2 or 3 videos, and all of a sudden you think I'm trying to be over bombarded with that type of content. I do not want to be. And that's what the problem is. It's like the way we receive our information, it caters itself to temporary interest. And you get over bombarded with the temporary interest that you may have had a couple days ago, and don't get enough variety to provide you other content, other subjects. I'm much more well-rounded than what the algorithm allows for me to receive. And I'm tired of this era. I would love for that to evolve. If they're going to continue to use these algorithms, I would love for it to not be so sensitive to what I would click on once or twice. If I click on Dallas Cowboy videos twice, I do not want to see Dallas Cowboy videos until I type in something else for which you'll do that same thing with. No. It's an overstimulation of the same. And that is not how my brain actually works. And I would tell people who are studying these tendencies and studying our tendencies to be careful not to chase your own tail. Because a lot of times when you study the tendencies of people who are clicking on algorithm set stuff, they're clicking on the options they have, not necessarily what they would choose. They're clicking on what's in front of them, the best of what's in front of them, not necessarily what otherwise they would want to see. And so if you're studying it, using that as a true north to what people's interests are, the interest isn't represented in their choice to click on something. You give them a few options, and they're gonna click on those options. You see what I'm saying? Unless they are creative within their head at that moment to find something else for which, like I said, type in. So I just think that a lot of what's going on right now is people studying data like that, and the context is lacking, and they're gonna write it off as if this is like the end-all be-all to the human experience. And it's skewed, and the data is skewed by certain nuances such as what I just described. And I think that's the problem with counting on AI to replace human beings, counting on artificial intelligence to sway human beings in different directions. If you're looking at the data the wrong way, you will be inaccurate in your mathematics. And so that's something I just wanted to say. And that's the problem with trying to think that AI can effectively master the human experience, so to speak. It's never going to actually do that. It's never going to actually behold human beings the way that it actually is. We actually are. It's going to come at us with a certain amount of data that's going to be able to understand based on the angles created within it. It's going to learn from the foundations that we created for it in our limited understanding it's not going to behold the world as clearly as I think people are going to hold it accountable for doing. Because its foundation is flawed, based on the flawed nature of the people who are programming it, and their positions on life, and their positions on just how to read data in general. It's all gonna be flawed, man. And I would tell people that right now while we're in the early stages of it, before you start looking at it as Bible text, as religious fact, like I'd imagine we're going to 100, 200 years from now. Understand at the beginning stages of this, the foundation's already off, because you got people who are programming this thing for the sake of the politics of the current times, effectively swaying AI to process things in a way that is palatable for the times we're in. And everything that it learns from here is going to be coming from a space from which there are blank spots. If what I'm saying can be articulated better, I wish it could, but I hope I'm making sense. Its foundation is going to have holes in it, because the times we're in while we're programming that thing are heavily compromised. Heavily compromised. And so that's what I want people to understand, man. People want the world to be what they want it to be. A lot of the programmers and people like that, and those who want to spy on America, on America and everybody else for that matter, those who want to have the all-seeing eye, they're looking at things the wrong way, whether they are open to understanding that or not. They're looking at things the wrong way, and as a result, everything that they build and everything that they're trying to do is going to be flawed. And in its flaws, it's going to have holes that can be manipulated and worked around. And in that comes the undoing of it someday. You know, one thing that comes to mind is just understanding that prayer, as I talk about prayer and meditation, and sacrificing one's future comforts for the sake of the discipline of it all, I think is so important when you're dealing with manipulation, propaganda, and all of that. You need your own time away from all of it. You could be buying some bull crap. It's a good chance you could be buying some bull crap. You know what I mean? And the only way you're going to be able to see clearly is taking time away from that for which you get your information. It's sitting in the dark, in the quiet space, processing everything. I don't think I've been doing enough of that lately. I really don't. As for somebody who preaches that to you all, I'd be lying to you and saying over the last couple of weeks, I ain't really meditated as much as I need to. Yeah, last night I did a little bit of it, but not with what is in front of us, with some of the conversations we're having on this channel, not as closely as I know I should. And I'd like to rectify that very soon for myself and for the sake of the integrity of what it is I'm trying to do here on this channel. I want everybody to understand that I'm open to being wrong about a lot of things, but God is not one of them. What is proven don't have to be reproven. What has already been confirmed does not need reaffirmation from human beings. God is real. That you don't know him does not take away from the fact that he's already proven himself to me in many ways in my lifetime. Many. I said all of that to say, turning to him is a very good idea in a world of chaos and brainwashing and propaganda. In a world like this, giving God a chance, giving the all-seeing eye an opportunity to utilize your energy is a very, very healthy thing in this environment. In many environments, in all in our environments, but specifically in a world full of chaos and confusion and purposeful misdirection. We need to know that letting God in, not just from a religious standpoint, like a lot of the world's people is doing, because that religion stuff is hit or miss. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not so sure about it. But that relationship, that meditation, and that focus on something greater than yourself, and letting it communicate with you, letting it utilize your inner voice for its purpose, letting it humble you, letting it capture your consciousness and focus is probably the best way to handle everything that's being thrown at us in modern times. And I'm willing to bet it's going to be the best way to handle everything thrown at you in whatever time you're watching this video. Get some meditation time with something greater than yourself. Do that. Do that for yourself. Make that a priority in practice. To read through all of the confusion and nonsense, all of the hasty way of looking at things or prejudice, propaganda, poor cultures, mistakenness. That's the best way, I think, to sort through all of the nonsense in your life, is to meditate on something greater than yourself and letting it direct you with the inner voice that it provides you. Listen to it. Let it guide you to paying attention to the signs around you in your life. Let it guide you toward what should be done and what should not be done in your life. Let it guide you toward your best instincts. And when it challenges you, trust it. Trust it when it challenges you. Because we're not always right, man. Sometimes the things we want are horrible for us. Sometimes the things we think are best come with things we do not want. You know, this is just what it is. Be comfortable with it telling you no. Trust it enough to let it tell you no, and be fine with not receiving what it is that you should not. It's not enough to just let that voice in. You got to trust it when it comes in to your mind and heart. Video 44. I thank you all for watching.